see wrestling I see wrestling I see wrestling podcast. What's going on, everyone? I guess that's my new intro. If you didn't hear it, just rewind the video just a little bit. Hear my rapping skills. No, I'm just kidding. That's not my new intro. I was just messing around a little bit before the video. But we're here to talk about some Impact Wrestling. But before we get into that, let me first thank you guys last week, because you guys were so supportive of the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast last week. I got 218 views in 1 week, which has never happened to me before. So I really appreciate all who came by to watch the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast last week. I feel like it was all thanks to a retweet. There was someone retweeted a tweet of mine where my YouTube tweets out that I posted a video or that I put a video in a certain folder. So basically, I want to thank that person for, I think it was Wrestling Extreme. I appreciate the retweet. It really helped my video last week. It's pretty tremendous how much one retweet helped a video. I mean, and I'm thinking, my Raw review got 1 view. No? Yeah, 1 view. That's all. It's gotten 1 view over those 2 weeks. And then in one, and then my Impact Wrestling review for the week before got 54. And that was because of a retweet as well. So, I mean, usually when I get stuff retweeted about my videos, it does help. Plus, I guess I try my best to put it up when people are actually looking for the content, because, if you put it up 3 days later, people aren't necessarily looking for Instant Classic Wrestling podcast review of TNA Impact Wrestling for the date of 5/22/2014. People aren't really looking for it. People are really looking for it that night or that next morning a lot of the time. So I try to get it up as soon as possible because, I know when people are looking for it. And plus, I'm trying to, for the people who watch all the time, I want them to know, when it comes out. So I'm trying to be consistent about it. I'm hoping to have a job sometime soon, so I may have to be a little bit more inconsistent about it. But I promise I won't stop the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast. I'm still gonna do it. I'm just gonna have to, do it around my schedule as well. But let's get into this Impact Wrestling review for 5/22/2014. First we have MVP coming out, and excuse me if you hear me moving, excuse me, I guess. Anyway, excuse me if you hear me moving, I apologize. But let's get into this show. First I noticed, MVP's coming out. I'm like, MVP is getting a nice heel pop. I feel like he really is. And I feel like MVP is a great heel. I don't know about you guys. I mean, let me know what you guys think. I mean, if you'd like, if you have a comment on MVP, if you have a comment on MVP as a heel, not TNA sucks. Oh my gosh, why are you reviewing this show? Why are you reviewing a dead show? TNA sucks. Don't give me that. Just give me, just if you think MVP's a great heel, let me know. Or if you think he's a terrible heel, if you think he's horse crap on the mic, just let me know. If you think he's not really getting a good pop, just let me know. I feel like honestly he is a good heel, because you got to think of what MVP is. MVP is pretty much a pretty boy. Like, if you think about it, all of his mannerisms and everything. Even if you think about it, when he first came to TNA, he had that persona like, I'm running this, He had this persona like, I'm running this and I'm gonna run this, Even before lockdown, he's like, I'm gonna run this. I'm the investor. I'm gonna, this is gonna happen, MVP is full of confidence, especially in his character, If you go back to WWE, he had pretty much the same exact character, and it makes sense, he's got the name MVP, the way he dresses, you gotta think, I just feel like MVP is a solidified heel. One, I think he does good work in the ring. He has the pretty boy persona, and he's good on the mic. If you're gonna be a good heel or face, it's nice for you to be good on the mic. I mean, we'll get to Gunner a little bit later, but a lot of people, like I've said in the past couple of weeks, are not too fond of Gunner because he has a plain character. He doesn't really get on the mic much. He's kind of just an action type of guy. Next, you got Kenny King. You got I mean, I'm just trying to talk about the stable of Kenny King, MVP, and Bobby Lashley. MVP, I think, has solidified himself as a great heel already in past promotions. So I honestly feel like MVP is gonna be, he's a great heel within himself. Next, you got Kenny King. Kenny King's got the character to be a great heel. The King of the Night character. He was already a heel when he came back, so it would make sense for him to be, he was kind of a heel, I guess. He was getting cheers because people were happy he was back, but, he was kind of acting like a heel. Honestly, I feel like Kenny King's got he's got the charisma to be a good heel. He's got the character to be a good heel, like just the way he is. Like I feel like, before, I'm not saying I loved Kenny King before his first stint in TNA a couple, I think it was probably about a year ago, maybe two. But I liked his stint the first time, but I'm loving the second time because he's getting more time on the mic, which is great. Because him as a character is, I love him as a heel character because, the King of the Night thing, Kenny King, he thinks he's the best thing going in TNA, that it just makes sense for a good heel. It really does. Bobby Lashley is one I really can't get behind as a heel. Bobby Lashley, I wouldn't say he's weak on the mic, but he just doesn't get on the mic enough for you to really even know if he's weak on the mic. He gets on the mic like every once in a blue moon. Like he's not on the mic he's on the mic rarely at all. And I feel like Bobby Lashley's not gonna get a huge heel pop. The only reason he's gonna get any heel pop is because of his association with MVP and Kenny King. I mean, I feel as if he's not gonna get much of a pop unless he does something with his actions. If he's not gonna talk much, you've got to do something with your actions to be any semblance of a heel. You really do. As you see, Bobby Lashley's he's this big and tough dude who kind of just looks around like, even in the main event tonight, he was he'd walk around, he'd kind of look at the fans, glare at the fans, but, he still wasn't really saying anything. I mean, at least at the end of the show when MVP came back out, he was talking back to the fans. But we'll get back to that when it's time to get to that. Next, you had the Wolves actually coming out and interrupting this promo. I'm pretty sure I'm right. The Wolves came out because that's what made me think about Lashley and Kenny King actually being a good tag team instead of them going on separate single feuds. They're a faction now with MVP, so they might as well be in a tag team and fight for the tag titles, considering we have no tag teams at this point. So I'm pretty sure the Wolves came out, and I actually before the Wolves even came out, MVP was talking about money, power, and respect. I was like, how come MVP didn't come up with a brand new, MVP principle? It was motivate, validate, participate. Why didn't he come up with, money, valuability, and power or something? I don't even know if valuability is a word. I'm pretty sure I just made a word up, but it's okay. It's completely fine. I don't know why he didn't come, there was no new MVP motive, like a heel version of the MVP motive. Money, power, and something with a B that, makes sense to go with their heel tactics. Actually, what happened here was, I think this might have been before the Wolves came out. EY and Austin Aries started working together to get Bobby Lashley and Kenny King out the ring. MVP's letting Bobby Lashley and Kenny King do his dirty work at that point. So, I mean, pretty much that was pretty much the first part of the show. I spent a long time on that. I just realized. But, I didn't spend the entire time on that, I guess. But anyway, let's get back to this show. Um, excuse me. And once again, guys, but before I get back to it, I want you guys to know that you don't have to watch this show. You can just listen to it. There's nothing really to see. Like I put pictures up just in case people are watching it, but I don't put many up because I don't expect people to actually watch it. I kind of expect people to kind of click on, go do something else. So I just wanted you guys to know that you don't you know. Next we had the knockouts come out. It was Angelina Love, and she's like, I'm giving an open challenge. But the only only person, yeah, it would really, literally was probably the only person. I mean, there was probably two people on the roster that fit this criteria, but you have the only people who can fight me for this championship tonight in this open challenge are, they can't be former knockout champion. They can't be a former knockout champion. So I'm thinking it's got to be either one, the person, the girl from the menagerie, or two, Brittany. I mean, I think I'm pretty sure ODB had the title at one point, so couldn't be ODB. I mean, that wasn't who I was thinking of anyway. The first person that came to mind was Brittany anyway, because I'm like, hashtag push Brittany. Come on, Brittany is great. I like Brittany for some reason. I don't know why. I think Brittany brings something new to the division. She may not bring anything new like spectacular as far as talent goes. I mean, she hasn't been in the ring much, so you don't really know much. But I do feel like she brings a different person to the division. That's always good to have. I mean, a division that's like 5 to 6 people deep. Like, with a division that's like 5 to 6 people deep, it makes sense that people would get excited about someone new coming in. I mean, you got to think about, even with WWE, people get bored by the Divas division really quickly, like any women's division really quickly. So for them to bring up Paige from NXT, it was a great thing. For them to bring up Paige from NXT, people are excited to watch the Divas now. At least I am. I don't know. I'm the only one ever in life excited to watch the Divas at this point in WWE because of Paige. I doubt that, but I mean, when you see someone new doing stuff, like especially in the women's division that kind of gets glossed over a lot of the times, it's nice to see. Brittany hit the she did hit the vaunted Russian leg sweep that I can't even say. It's so vaunted I can't even get it out clearly. The vaunted Russian leg sweep. So look out for the Russian leg sweep. We got the leg lock. We got the Russian leg sweep. You better just look out. Like we got a lot of leg stuff going on here. You better look out in TNA. Pretty much Angelina Love does win this match. Basically, it was by a distraction by Velvet Sky. I'm just happy there was no hairspray involved in this match. After you see it so many times, you get bored of it. So, they've been winning the last at least 2 weeks, and at the pay-per-view because of the hairspray. So, it was nice to see, some other heel tactic, Stifler's struggling with Velvet Sky over there. Like, it's gonna be one of those Madison Rain, Earl Hebner things, except less creepy because Stifler's nowhere near as old as Earl Hebner. I guess that's what they're trying to do here. Cause, even the commentators comment on Stifler, like, he's pretty ridiculous. That first promo with MVP, I don't know what they're going to call themselves. I guess eventually they'll call themselves something. I guess they're calling themselves MVR. I don't know why they didn't just call themselves MVP or wait a minute. Money, power, respect. MPR, excuse me. I guess they're calling themselves MPR, I guess. I have no idea. Emperor? I have no idea, but that promo earlier caused a match between MVP and Austin Aries. So we had an MVP Austin Aries match. Really wasn't much to see from here. I mean, it's that typical Austin Aries. Austin Aries is great in the ring. He's so smooth with a lot of his moves. So it's great to see Austin Aries back. doing good things in TNA. Once again, speaking of this faction between MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Kenny King, we did see a Kazarian sighting again. So I don't know if seeing him this much means he's really leaving or seeing him this much means he's actually staying. I have no idea. If you have any type of view on that, leave your comment in the in the comment section. Um, Basically this Austin Aries MVP match was basically it's kind of like a rematch of a couple weeks ago when Austin Aries was feuding with MVP. Pretty much. I mean, when MVP was a face, so it's probably not even a couple weeks ago. Probably a month ago by now. I'm not sure, but basically this match was to set up EY versus Bobby Lashley in the main event. Because Austin Aries and MVP ended in a disqualification, so not much really happened in the match. I mean, it was a good match. The product in the ring was very good, but it was just a DQ ending, which is typical for a lot of heels these days. But I guess I don't really know how I feel about the DQ thing. They're just starting the faction, so it makes sense to get people DQ'd at this point early on. I mean, there were a lot of DQs with this faction. But basically, it's set up an EY versus Bobby Lashley match. I thought it was a title match, but turns out it wasn't. Next, we had a Dixie Carter promo where she was basically talking about... This was actually right after MVP's match. She was talking about how... what was she saying? Dang on it. How am I forgetting things? She was talking about how she could help MVP out. MVP and her have been feuding, since MVP took control and before MVP took control. So basically, she's like, I can help you out. Basically, just like that. She was just like that. Basically, she was saying, I can help you out, and MVP's like, why would I want your help? Blah blah blah. And basically, Bully Ray comes down here, and he's like, I threw both of you out. What in the world are you guys doing here? And basically, EC3 and Dixie Carter try to flee, and they're still staying outside the ring. MVP and Bully are going back and forth, talking wise, and Bully Ray's like, Bobby Lashley, if you take one more step towards me, and Kenny King hits him from behind. Basically setting up EC3 to come in and put Bully Ray through a table. That's pretty much what happened. EC3 looking like a Titus O'Neil with that move he put him through the table with. It was nice to see something other than a power bomb through a table, though. A lot of times with a lot of the table things, besides the Bully push at Sacrifice, there's been a lot of power bombs through tables. So it was nice to see something other than a power bomb through a table. I was excited about that. But EC3 was looking like Titus O'Neil, and as soon as I said that, I was like, oh no, please don't bury my boy EC3. I'm loving EC3 right now. Don't bury him like Titus O'Neil. But we saw a rare Spud sighting as they were getting into the limousine. But before that, Kenny King had me laughing though. He's sitting there and he's trying to talk junk to EC3, like, you know how Kenny King is. He one cocky individual, so he's talking junk to EC3, and I'm thinking, now Kenny King don't want none of EC3. He don't want EC3, bruh. EC3 will put him in a leg lock. Kenny King don't have no defense for that. You can't defend the leg lock unless someone just comes in and jumps EC3. You can't defend that leg lock. That thing's patented. You better look out. EC3. But basically, this leads to EC3 and Dixie going to their limo, and they were about to leave, and Bully Ray is coming from behind. And basically they flee as Bully Ray is trying to run after them. He obviously stops. He's obviously in pain because he just went through a tape. And this wasn't right after. This was after a commercial break. So Bully had a little bit of time to heal. It wasn't like he was he just no sold the table bump. Just was like, you know what, I'm good. I'm just gonna run right after him. Just no sells the table bump. Nah, it wasn't like that. Basically, they were like, Dixie fears no one, but then again, Dixie fears Bully. um, yeah. I honestly feel like Bully as a heel was fantastic. But Bully as a face is so likable though. Like he can get over so quickly with the fans, especially with anything to do with a freaking table. I mean, I swear, Bully might be the best face in the business if they somehow allow him to put Dixie Carter through a table. I promise you, Bully will be. I mean, I'm talking about worldwide. Freaking put it on the news this just in. Like, like he will be the most over guy in wrestling ever. Non-wrestling fans will be like, what? Thought they didn't do that anymore, you know? Non-wrestling fans will convert again. Um, before this Willow versus Magnus rematch again, we had a Bram Magnus promo where Bram's like, you know, I don't even know what Bram really said. I can't remember exactly, but it was something to the effect of like, you gotta be more tough. You gotta, I talked to MVP. We're gonna get you a match with Willow, and he's like, and obviously him and Magnus don't agree. He says something to Magnus. Magnus punches him in the face, and Bram is bleeding, and Bram's like, that's what I like, mates. Something to that extent. So basically, we got a Magnus versus Willow match. I don't know what the hell. Excuse me. I don't know what in the world Willow was wearing. Honestly, Willow had these fuzzy pants on. They look like John Morrison's kick pads. No, and they weren't even like pants. Like they were pants, but it was like they were like slit all the way to like his hip bone. Like it was ridiculous. Like he fell down one time and the pants came completely up. Like I was like, what is this guy even wearing, dude? I love Willow though. I'm gonna have to give me a Willow umbrella so when it's raining, I cannot act. When it's raining, when it's not raining, I cannot use the umbrella. I can just turn it like Willow does and just do everything Willow does. Like I love Willow for some. I don't even know why, but Willow gets a win over Magnus after Magnus refuses to use the iron crowbar looking whatever. It's just a random piece of metal that Bram tries to get Willow to use. Not Willow. Bram tries to get Magnus to use. Magnus doesn't want to use it. Even in this no disqualification match, he actually did use it. He did. I do remember he did use it. But he hit him in the back, and Bram's like, knock his freaking face in, mate. Brad's like, knock his face in, and he thought about it, but he's not. He still didn't do it, or nah, I guess you could say. But Willow ends up winning this match because Magnus once again doesn't use the weapon. Next we have a Samuel Shaw and Gunner promo. They're trying to get Shaw free. Gunner's like, you can trust me. Gunner understands what's going on. I think this is basically what this is going to turn out to be. Is another tag team, which is what I'm hoping for. I don't know how well Gunner and Samuel Shaw styles fit together. But, I feel like any tag team they put together is going to be better than, the two tag teams that they have. Even though I love the Wolves and the Bromans, better as in, not that they're going to be better as tag teams, that, it'll just enhance the tag team division having more tag teams. So, I mean, yeah, Samuel Shaw and Gunner, he's talking about freeing Samuel Shaw from the straitjacket. So, we may see I'm pretty sure we're going to see a Samuel Shaw come back in the next couple weeks. If nothing else, it'll probably be after the pay-per-view, or even at the pay-per-view. So we'll see how that goes. Excuse me. Next we had the we have the Wolves, and early on, Davey Richards was taken to the hospital because Pretty much, he got the crap beat out of him by the new faction MVR. I don't know what to call them at this point. Basically, we had Davey Richards getting injured early on in the night. He got injured because of the what do you call it? He got injured because of the faction of MVP and Lashley and Kenny King. I really should come up with a name for them because I am tired of saying Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Kenny King, and then you have Bobby Lashley, Kenny King, and then you have he got attacked by Bobby Lashley, Kenny King. I mean they really need a name because this is getting difficult. If they add any more people, I'm gonna get tongue twisted. So basically, one half of the Wolves is in the hospital, Davey Richards, because he got the crap beat out of him. And then you got Eddie Edwards coming out, and basically he's like, someone get out here. And you obviously know it's going to be Kenny King. Bobby Lashley's already going to have a match later on in the night. And you got MVP who already had a match. I mean, the only only other way they could have went here is sending them all out. But Kenny King comes out, which, it was good to see Eddie Edwards in a singles capacity instead of a tag team capacity. It was just good to see him, do something singles wise. You never get to see the Wolves by themselves. You always see the Wolves in tag team action. So to see them in a singles type of environment is different and great to see. So, I mean, basically, Kenny King comes out. They have a little brawl. It's sort of back and forth. Kenny King pretty much ends him with a, I guess you could call it a T-bone suplex. I guess he does, looking like a Sheldon Benjamin. Sheldon Benjamin right there. Like, I guess you could call it a T-bone suplex. So, that was great to see. I wonder where Sheldon Benjamin is, by the way. I guess he's in the Indies at this point. Maybe, I don't think he's in ROH either, because the last time I checked their website, he wasn't on the roster, but I don't know. I'm thinking during the podcast here. But if anyone knows where Sheldon Benjamin is, can you let me know? Benjamin. I don't know what I'm saying right now. I feel like I'm like half asleep right now. I'm not even tired, and I'm like Sheldon Benjamin. Like Sheldon Benjamin. If anyone knows where he is, let your boy know. Let your boy know. And also I got a note here. Before this brawl, I know I'm doing stuff out of order. You guys are probably like, what are you doing? Why are you going backwards? But I apologize. I start on one point and then I go back and I'm like, I forgot my other point. Like that's pretty much what happened with me a lot of times, and I apologize for that. But anyway, you got the Wolves. I feel like the Wolves are getting more mic time. You saw Davey Richards get his little promo in earlier, and Eddie Edwards getting his promo in. If you guys will notice, if you guys have noticed in WWE, Seth Rollins and Dean was already good on the mic, but Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns are getting a lot more mic time, which is great because the more time you get, the more you improve, obviously. So I think people, I've heard it was Tony Pizza Guy. He said. He was like, yeah, the Wolves are like two Evan Bournes. Like, Evan Bourne, he was over with the fans because he was a great talent, but when he wasn't on the marijuana or whatever, when it wasn't 420 and all, but he was a great talent, but he didn't really have a character per se, and he wasn't on the mic per se. The best way to get over, especially if you want to get over big with the fans, is be great in the ring and be great on the mic. Ask CM Punk about this. CM Punk's great in the ring and great on the mic, and everyone's missing him right now. I mean, some people are, over it, obviously, but there are obviously going to be other WWE fans who are like, why, where's CM Punk? Especially if they're big time CM Punk fans, they're going to be like, they really want CM Punk to come back. See, you got to think, CM Punk was probably one of the greatest heels. But I'm getting off on a tangent here. We'll talk about CM Punk and his beautiful heelness later on. I don't know if beautiful heelness is a term in anything. making up stuff again. Anyway, we got, the Wolves getting, very good mic time, which is great because, like I said, with more practice, they're going to get better. And people aren't going to feel like they're just two Evan Bournes. They can be their own, entity. They can be their own product, not just two Evan Bournes, it can be better. But next, throughout the night, we were seeing promos with not necessarily promos. I guess it was kind of just we were seeing just videos with Mr. Anderson and James Storm. They were having a quote unquote drinking contest, and basically Mr. Anderson tricks not MVP. There's been so much MVP in this show, I'm putting him in every single sentence. But, James Storm and Mr. Anderson were having a drinking contest. And basically, Mr. Anderson was drinking, I don't know, I can't remember what he called it. I'm not a big time drinking fan, so I wouldn't know anything anyway. So he was drinking, I think it sounded like he said near beer or rear beer. I don't even know what he said. I couldn't understand him from that point, but he wasn't drinking real beer pretty much. But then James Storm was drinking actual beer, so James Storm had the buzz going, and Mr. Anderson obviously did not. Mr. Anderson takes him out, pushes him into a dumpster, throws him into a dumpster, and that was pretty much the end of that. Mr. Anderson, if you put Mr. Anderson with the right guys, Mr. Anderson can be great. Because you got to think, Mr. Anderson's a pretty great character himself. It's kind of hard sometimes to see him as a face, but he's got a great character, so he's a funny guy. I feel like in any aspect as far as his character goes, storyline wise, he's such a funny guy. He can do great things as a face. Even if you can't really imagine him much as a face, like when he was in WWE a long time ago, you kind of only saw him as a heel. Yeah, it was really his face stint wasn't that long, so you kind of got to think about it that way. You really didn't see much of Mr. Anderson as a face, so you only think of him as a heel. And I'm glad TNA is using him as a face because he's a really funny face. And after that, we had an MVP telling Brian Hebner, I apologize for Kenny King. He's a hothead at times, and he put his hands on you, and I apologize for that. So I'm going to let you referee the main event. So we have the main event, Eric Young versus Bobby Lashley, not for the TNA World Heavyweight title. And Lashley actually picked up the victory here. And that's basically because the referee was not going to disqualify MVP. He's the person in power, so he wasn't going to disqualify him. So, basically, I feel like, Bobby Lashley, I have nothing really of note to talk about this match. It was just basically continuing to establish the faction as that big-time heel faction or whatever. But Bobby Lashley as a heel, I just don't, the only way he's going to be a good heel is by association, unless he gets on the mic. You gotta think, CM Punk's best moments as a heel were on the mic, or his weird "you have a vagina" thing with the van. that was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen. But, think about it. You got, think about some of the best heels. Even Daniel Bryan, because he was even over as a heel because people were saying yes when he was trying to say no. So you got Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Triple H. Think about those guys in general. Randy Orton, and I guess Randy Orton, he's pretty good on the mic, but I feel like Bobby Lashley needs to be similar to Randy Orton. He needs to be an action type of guy. Randy Orton is a great heel when his actions speak for his words. Bobby Lashley doesn't speak a lot, so you're not gonna see a lot of heel speaking from Bobby Lashley. Even tonight when he spoke, he just kind of just piggybacked off of what everyone else was saying, and they gave him the mic last because so he could piggyback off of what everybody else was saying. I don't think Bobby Lashley's great on the mic at all. I feel like he can improve, but I don't feel like he's great right now. I couldn't even say he's really good. He doesn't talk enough for me to even say he's really good at this point. So, I'm interested to see where they're going to go with Bobby Lashley as a heel, because Bobby Lashley doesn't say much. Bobby Lashley lets his actions speak for his words. As you saw, Bobby Lashley got over as a face in TNA because he came and attacked a heel in EC3, and it was unexpected. So, you got to think about that as well. So, if pretty much, I feel like Bobby Lashley needs to go the Randy Orton route, and he needs to let his actions speak louder than his words. And that's it for the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast. I'm just gonna do a little bonus part here, just about my liking of TNA. If you guys don't want to listen to it, that's completely fine. I'm just doing a little bonus part to just tell why I like TNA better than WWE at this point. The review of Impact Wrestling for the night is over. So if you want to go in and cut the podcast off right now, you do you, okay? I mean, if you're running low on time, you need to go, you go ahead, you can come back and watch this if you want to. It's completely up to you. Guys, I feel like I'm in the minority right now. I honestly feel like I like TNA more than I like WWE. And, I mean, this isn't going to be long, I promise. For you guys who are sticking around, I like TNA better than WWE. You're seeing a lot of young stars flourish. I mean, even some former WWE superstars flourish, as you really couldn't see that in WWE. Because a lot of people get upset at TNA, and when I do my State of TNA video sometime in the near future, I'm gonna talk more in depth about this. I'm just trying to. I wrote it down, so I was like, I feel like I should talk about it just a little bit. So I mean, basically, you got these young stars, not young stars per se, but young could be stars. You got former WWE people. You got Anderson. Angle was established. Don't get me wrong. Let's think about more of the unestablished type of people. Like, you got I almost said Angle again. You got Anderson. You got Bobby Lashley. Think about it. Bobby Lashley didn't do much in WWE. I mean, he was there, but he didn't get to do much, I don't think, personally. And you also have MVP. MVP had storylines in WWE, but he wasn't really, he was a mid-carder type of guy. And I feel like with MVP's character, I think it's nice for him to lead TNA. A lot of people find that TNA is like they call TNA like just a company full of WWE rejects, and I think that's completely wrong. And I forgot about EC3. EC3 was in WWE as if you remember, Derek Bateman. So you got EC3 as well. So pretty much, I just feel as if WWE, I feel as if TNA is really doing well off of some of WWE's stars. I love TNA right now, and I will get more into that when I get to my State of TNA video. I was going to do a State of TNA for early 2014, but I never really got a chance to do it. I'll probably do one for the mid of the year type of thing. I may even do a State of WWE, State of ROH, whatever. I don't know. I'll see what I can do. But guys, I really hope you enjoyed this Instant Classic Wrestling podcast. I'm not sure where I am on time because I didn't do this all in one video per se. It's kind of chopped up because it's kind of hard for me to edit the video sometimes if it's so long. Or at least convert some of the stuff if it's so long. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate all the viewership from last week. I told you guys this already, but guys, I can't even explain how excited I was to see how many times my video was getting views. I hope it wasn't the same guy. Like the same guy wakes up, he refreshes the page every day. He's like, Oh, time to refresh this page, and I'm getting like these fake views because, guys, honestly, without you guys, I would be talking to myself right now. Honestly, you know, I tried to do this in a study room one time, and I was like, I can't even do it. It feels like I'm talking to myself, and people are gonna be like, "What is he doing?" And then people, people interrupt, and all that. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. I can't, extend my appreciation enough. I really appreciate the viewership last week, and I hope you guys continue to enjoy it. There are big things coming to this podcast, and I want you guys to know that. I love you guys. I'll see you guys later. Guys, rate this video, give it a thumbs up if you'd like, share it if you'd like. If you got wrestling fans somewhere, let them know. Let them know about the Insta Classic Wrestling Podcast. I'm not big at all right now, Feel free to message me about anything. If you want to get on the podcast sometime, why not? I don't mind, I got some things in the works, so hope you guys enjoyed, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.